I'm Scott Simi, Chief Content Editor with InDro Robotics, and joining me on this edition of our Soundbite micro-podcast is Luke Corbeth, Head of R&D Sales for InDro Robotics, though I should point out right off the top, this is not a sales pitch. And welcome, Luke.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott.
So, we recently chatted about humanoids, and today's topic is closely related. It's about bipedal robots. Now, they're similar, but they're not the same. How do you differentiate them?
Yeah, so a humanoid typically mimics the human form. So it has a head, torso, arms, and legs, where bipedal simply means it walks on two legs, but it doesn't need to look human. So while most humanoids are bipedal, not all bipedal robots are humanoids. You can think of it as form versus function, if you will.
All right, so let's start with the advantage of a bipedal design, acknowledging, as you pointed out, that most humanoids are bipedal, though some have wheels and tracks. What is the advantage of this form factor?
Yeah, the biggest advantage is its ability to navigate environments designed for humans. So that's things like stairs, narrow pathways, uneven terrain. And these bipedal systems can reach places wheeled or tracked robots simply can't, making them valuable for real-world R&D and future field deployments.
Now, I've seen in the R&D space and even YouTube videos of engineers developing bipedal robots, and it seems that getting that bipedal locomotion and gait down is really the first and major challenge. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. So achieving the stable and efficient bipedal locomotion is really the first critical milestone. So it involves doing things like balancing the gait, being very energy efficient, and knowing how to recover from various disturbances. But once that's dialed in, you can build advanced capabilities on top of it, things like manipulation or autonomous navigation.
Now, I've seen some bipedal robots that are not humanoid. One I recall or seem to recall looked a bit like an ostrich without a neck. Doesn't a bipedal really need arms or grippers to be functional?
Not always, but it's truly dependent on the use case. So for a pure mobility setting, the legs are enough. But for practical utility out in the field or in a lab, arms and grippers do dramatically increase the robot's value if they need the robot to interact with the environment itself, doing things like opening doors or manipulating tools or equipment.
All right, so bipedal robots can be humanoid, but not all humanoids are bipedal. So, switching gears just a bit, what are your thoughts on the growth of humanoid robots for Industry 4.0 or for other applications?
Yeah, we're seeing a ton of interest in humanoids as kind of a flexible, adaptable automation tool across various verticals like logistics, manufacturing, and inspection. For kind of the reasons I'd outlined on previous episodes, Scott, which is that rather than redesigning workflows for robots, humanoids can be slot into human environments, performing typically repetitive or hazardous tasks, um, augmenting labor and collecting data in places where traditional robots may struggle.
Now, you made the point about infrastructure earlier, but if we set infrastructure aside, do you think that the form factor, vaguely human and usually human size, makes them more suitable for human robotic interaction, more suitable as collaborative robots in a human space?
Yeah, definitely. The human form factor is just intuitive for people to interact with. And the similar size helps them use human tools and really fit in well in those kind of workspaces. Some may argue as well, it also kind of builds trust, which is crucial for collaborative robots operating around or with people in some cases.
Now, we're still arguably in the early days, yet we're already seeing new designs with wheeled humanoids that can climb stairs, humanoids that have a fully articulating torso to save time on pick and place operations. When you look to the future, how do you envision they'll continue to advance? What would be on your wish list?
Yeah. I think better battery life is kind of on everyone's wish list. The runtime of a humanoid or bipedal robot simply isn't as long as, some of the traditional wheeled or track systems. There's also other things like faster and safer locomotion, and of course, dexterous hands, which has been a huge focus at, some recent events I've attended. I'd also add, the need for robust perception and for navigating some of those more complex unstructured environments. you know Robotics hasn't really had its AI moment like LLMs yet, but once folks are able to better structure the physical world data, I think we'll be able to see some really robust improvements happen very quickly.
Now, it's worth mentioning, and actually it was news to me, that we have a bipedal non-humanoid robot at InDro. Tell me about it and tell me who would be interested.
Yeah, of course. So at InDro, we carry the Unitree G1, which is a compact open source humanoid that's excellent for R&D. But that is more of a humanoid style robot. But for anyone researching the bipedal locomotion portion of the problem specifically, it may make sense to bring on a robot that's designed for this solely, and really allow them to focus on research and control, computer vision, and AI applications, as it's an accessible platform for labs to really accelerate their work on humanoids.
As we look down the road, can we anticipate that InDro will be modifying these bipedal robots or humanoids to extend their capabilities?
Absolutely. That's something we're certainly exploring. Our Cortex solution, both the hardware and the software and the autonomy, is something we're looking to add to the humanoids and the bipedal robots here very shortly for some upcoming projects, where we see opportunities to integrate advanced autonomy, teleoperation, and perception pipelines into this equipment. We think it would give both labs and even some of our real world customers, industrial customers, a turnkey solution for advanced humanoid development and real world testing.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Yeah, I think I'd just add that we really are on the precipice of kind of an exciting inflection point with both bipedal and humanoid robots. So anyone looking to do research or integrate with these systems or see how it can fit into their existing workflows, now is the time to really kind of start exploring that and planning for the future.
Luke Corbeth, head of R&D sales for InDro Robotics. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.